Wealthy passengers flee in terror. A desperate woman rushes into the bathroom seeking safety. Suddenly, strange noises come from beneath the toilet. Something is approaching. A ghastly scream echoes as she's pulled into the toilet. No one expected the world's most luxurious cruise ship to face such a nightmare. Just moments ago, this luxury liner was a playground for the elite to indulge in wild extravagance. As the wealthy partied recklessly, a shadow slipped into the control room. He loaded new commands from disks, crippling the ship's power and communications. The captain said they were now blind and deaf at sea. Then came worse news. Something huge was closing in fast beneath the ship. The cruise ship was hit hard as the countdown ended. Passengers tumbled to the deck as a lifeboat broke loose and crashed into the sea. As the ship steadied, elite passengers turned into a panic mob, scrambling for safety. The Asian woman seeking restroom refuge became the cruise's first casualty. Chaos continued on the cruise ship. Meanwhile, through the driving rain, a speedboat raced across the water. Captain Finnegan was a skilled smuggler. That day, he landed a job delivering mysterious cargo to the notorious Red Zone. Finnegan knew better than to ask questions. His intimidating client wasn't the type to cross. Joey Pandachi couldn't resist his curiosity and sneaked into the hold to peek inside a crate. The box held a torpedo inside, with a dozen similar boxes stacked nearby. Joey wondered what they were planning, until a shadow loomed behind him. It was one of the employer's men. Joey was about to get a beating. Crossbow bolts suddenly streaked past Hannah. Finnegan wasn't about to let his mate take hits. The tension was palpable. The boss prioritized the mission and gestured for his men to back off to avoid trouble. Finnegan knew these men were rubble and just wanted to complete the mission and leave. Lost in his urgency, he failed to notice the lifeboat right ahead. The collision tore a large hole in the speedboat's bow. Fortunately, they put out the fire before it reached the torpedoes. Leela made an unexpected discovery. A cruise ship lay anchored ahead. They might find tools and parts there to fix the speedboat. Finnegan hesitated, but Hanover's men suddenly drew their weapons. Finnegan knew instantly the cruise ship was their target. Forced by Hanover, Finnegan sped the boat toward the cruise ship. At the right distance, a henchman rigged the left hatch remotely. The rest readied their boarding gear. They boarded the cruise ship in under 5 minutes. Hanover took Finnegan and Joey Penn to Chi aboard to scavenge for speedboat parts. The rest moved to take out the ship's guards. The hull was eerily empty, nothing but scattered debris and not a soul in sight. They looked around in confusion, wondering what had occurred here. Then noise from the elevator behind them. They edged forward, weapons ready. The doors opened, just more blood smeared across the floor. Where the hell was everyone? The crime boss clung to his dream of quick riches and told his men to fan out. Finnegan and Joey headed below to scavenge engine room parts. He headed to the cruise ship's control room, hoping to find useful clues. Meanwhile, Leela, catching the hole on the speedboat, spotted movement in the water. As she turned to call the others, a bloated corpse burst from the water. Leela choked on swallowed water. She barely regained balance when a huge force pulled her back. Below deck, Finnegan and Joey sorted spare parts in the engine room. Robber unwatched throws and movement in the shadows. Weapon raised, he crept toward the sound. The rising water reached his knees, heightening the bandit's unease. Something monstrous waited beneath the surface. Bubbles erupted as an unseen force yanked the robber beneath the waves. A scream echoed as his weapon clattered at Finnegan's feet. The group looked around in confusion, while the long minus-haired thug glared at Finnegan. Finnegan felt something far worse was present. The thug snapped at him to be silent. This needed Hanover's attention now. Before the call went through, the robber was jerked into a deadly underwater whirl. Finnegan watched in horror as the man dissolved. Now, he knew the monster was real. Forget the parts. Finnegan waved Joey to run for their lives. Elsewhere, the woman in red stirred in the locked storage room. Jenny had sneaked onto the cruise ship with a purpose far beyond mere entertainment. She successfully swiped the access card from the captain but was caught red-handed while attempting to break into the vault. Trillian was locked in the warehouse, which ironically saved her life. She broke the lock with her earring. She barely escaped the warehouse before running into Hanover's crew. Thinking fast, Trillian posed as the captain's assistant. Hanover saw through her lie and demanded the passengers' whereabouts. Devo grabbed the card, eager to plunder the vault. The door opened and an axe flew through the air toward them. The robbers sprayed bullets into the room. Hanover intervened at the critical moment, barely saving and the captain from certain death. Chaos heard warnings about the sea monster, Gunfire over the walkie-talkie. The crew must be in trouble elsewhere. Trillian slipped away unnoticed in the chaos. Heading to the lower deck, she bumped into Finnegan and his crew, fresh from their narrow escape. Finnegan warned her to stay, but a sea monster was out there. A creepy crawling sound from above the elevator confirmed Negan's warning. The elevator doors reopened to show the gang leader and his men waiting outside. Finnegan called for unity, backed by the captain and owner. The gang leader hadn't seen the monster, but he began to believe. The elevator shuddered violently, then a deafening crash. The elevator plummeted like a falling rock. Ship wasn't told. At third basement level, were hurled from elevator. They might have thought they'd died and gone to hell. Walls dripped with blood. Human bones lay scattered in twisted poses. Before they could recover, the corridor crumbled like a tin can under monstrous pressure. Finnegan's crew fired wildly as they retreated. Only when the bulkhead door sealed did the force disappear. "What the hell is that thing?" they shouted over each other. Someone yelled to contact the Navy, but the captain said their comms were down. "We got a traitor on board." Finnegan instantly knew the traitor was Ken, the crew's owner. The gang leader confessed his collusion with the crew's owner. Hanover's job was to rob the rich passengers, while the owner, tired of losing money on the ship, teamed up with him to fake the attack. Blowing up the ship would net him a huge insurance payday. Captain Atherton was livid with rage. Having such a boss was the worst luck imaginable. Joey was enjoying the show when something fell from above. He looked up just as a giant tentacle came twisting down. Finnegan didn't hesitate. He opened fire. The tentacle spat out a half-minus digested figure. Terrified, they all raised their guns and fired wildly into the air. Tentacles swarmed the cabin, forcing a fighting retreat. Finnegan bumped into Trillian, and they quickly struck a deal. If Negan got her out alive, she would do whatever he wanted. A tentacle whipped out, sending Finnegan sprawling. Reaching for a weapon, he only angered the tentacle. Trillian charged fearlessly with guns blazing as the beast bared its fangs. The gun fired drove the monster away, saving Finnegan. At that moment he remembered her deal and hurriedly nodded his agreement. Meanwhile, the captain faced his own tentacle attack. They arrived just in time to see the captain dragged below deck. They fired their bullets in vain. As the chaos died down, a shaken Hanover muttered, "What the hell was that thing?" Simon Kenton, well minus traveled, guessed it was an ancient giant squid. The deeper it lives, the bigger it gets. They remembered Captain Atherton's warning. They were now in 10,000 minus deep waters. Silently, they dropped the subject. Finnegan just wanted to get the parts and return to his speedboat. But the way forward was underwater. They have to swim for it. The thought of the giant squid below sent shivers down their spines. Finnegan knew getting home meant taking risks. He jumped into the water without delay. Seeing someone take the lead, the bold ones followed suit while a few cautious souls hesitated. Suddenly, massive tentacles came crashing after them. Alex quickly closed the heavy bulkhead, but the giant tentacle broke through instantly. They opened fire in unison. The moment they drove back the creature, they dove into the sea. The unlucky robber at the rear got trapped by the monstrous tentacle. With his last breath, he detonated the grenade, wounding the beast. The relentless attacks left T-Ray shaking with fear. He insisted on staying to await rescue. Negan disagreed, knowing the highly intelligent octopus would surely devise an escape plan. No sooner had he spoken than everyone froze. T-Ray felt something amiss and fired blindly without turning back. The wounded creature retreated into the vents. Before T-Ray could even catch his breath, another tentacle emerged and swallowed him whole. Negan's group fled wildly down the hallway, yet the monster constantly disrupted their escape route. Somehow, whether by chance or design, they ended up at a sealed door. The owner pointed to the main hall. Finnegan crept forward, then gaped at the horrific scene. Piles of human skeletons lay ahead. The creature must have dragged all the passengers here. Suddenly, a crashing sound echoed as seawater flooded in. The crew's owner had sealed the iron gate behind them. A cruel move. Finnegan and his crew scattered, searching for exits. Water rose rapidly in the corridor as the creature closed in. The gang leader tossed a grenade at the monster, but instead of slowing down, it charged forward even faster. Hanover ruthlessly shot Joey in the thigh, using his injury as a distraction to gain time. Joey swiftly dodged into a nearby trash bin as the monster lunged forward. Joey staggered into the hall with a limp and spotted Hanover's pistol lying on the floor. As he reached for it, a hand grabbed his shoulder. Hanover was caught by the sea monster. Joey was terrified and turned to run, but then he took pity on Hanover and handed him the gun so he could end his own suffering. To everyone's shock, Hanover aimed the gun at Joey. Luckily, the bullet missed, Hanover desperately aimed the gun at himself, only to discover it was out of bullets. He was destined to die in endless torment. Finnegan and Trillian were luckier, escaping through another passage to the deck and safely boarding the speedboat via the elevator. Without repair parts, Finnegan sent Trillian to find a motorboat while he planned to kill the creature. The speedboat's torpedoes would be useful. Joey made it back just in the nick of time. The duo set the speedboat on autopilot one turn, and it would ram the cruise ship, taking out the monster inside. With the plan almost set, Finnegan left Joey to finish up while he went to find Trillian. Trillian proved reliable at last, securing the key to a motorboat after all. Simon Kenton sprang out, gun in hand, demanding Trillian's key. Trillian sighed in frustration. There are plenty of boats around, why insist on mine? Mid-minus fight, Finnegan charged in, gun raised. He fired a full round but failed to hit the boss. Clearly he wasn't aiming to kill. The entertainment hull trembled violently when countless tentacles burst from the deck, then a monstrous fleshy mass emerged into view. Finnegan gaped. The creature's true form stood before them. Before Finnegan recovered, tentacles seized his legs. An overwhelming force closed in from every side. All Finnegan saw was a monstrous small lunging at him. A giant eye pulsed with blue light. In desperation, Finnegan whipped out his shotgun and blew the octopus's eye to pieces. The octopus dropped Finnegan. He rushed onto the speedboat, but the cockpit's broken glass and slime meant Joey was likely gone. Finnegan engaged the autopilot and bolted back to the cruise ship to find Trillian. Right then, Simon Kenton came running onto the deck. Seeing the departing speedboat, he jumped without hesitation. A broken leg beats losing your life here. Laughing maniacally, the boss rolled into the cockpit only to find the speedboat on autopilot, beyond his control. Finnegan and Trillian sprinted for their lives, the monster's tentacles snapping at their heels. He fired several shots to force the elevator doors open, narrowly escaping the pursuing monster. The speedboat turned and headed for the cruise ship. The boss watched helplessly as the speedboat hit the cruise ship. A fireball erupted into the sky. Finn and Trillian just escaped the blast. The monster writhed in the flames, now just overcooked calamari. They washed ashore on a deserted island, stranded with their motorboat. As they were settling in, Joey panted. She washed ashore miraculously alive. The three were celebrating their reunion when suddenly, the sea monster's roar echoed behind them. Something massive was closing in fast. Here concludes the thrilling tale of Deep Rising. See you soon.